Well, hello everyone. So glad you could join me again today. Welcome back to the channel. This is Merry Christmas Gnomes, and you can see how far we've come at the top. And we will be working on this rectangular area today. I have to dial this in. Whoops. A little bit too far. This is a touchy time when I'm trying to do that part. As always, please subscribe. It's absolutely free and it's helpful to any channel on YouTube. Hit the thumbs up to show that you like the content, and please leave a comment, suggestions, ideals, area that you're from, continent, whatever the case may be. We are going to start with the number 8. Just make the comment at least 7 words or longer for YouTube to recognize it. And as always, I hope everyone is doing well, or as well as can be expected. All right, still got more 8s way over in here. Okay, having trouble with the discharge again. Like I said, this is not one of the better adhesive ones. I guess sometimes you really do get what you pay for. But on my limited budget, I can't afford real expensive ones that are high quality. Takes money to afford that. And as anyone who watches any of my past videos, they know that I've had 1 knee surgery and a hip replacement, and I am scheduled for a knee surgery again on the same knee because the first one, it did not take properly. The metal is micro shifting and it makes it painful to walk, and stairs are practically impossible to navigate. I have to use and rely on my new hip replacement to get up and down stairs, which could have worn my hip out even faster when I went back to work as a housekeeper. But we are in the grips of winter, nice and frigid outside. This winter has definitely been much colder, more normal in my view. It is near my birthday. My birthday is January 9th. I will be 58 years old. And as I have mentioned, I have been doing this for a couple reasons. I started doing it because 1, it can be affordable. 2, I'm hoping to build a channel enough to help me with income. I'm not expecting a lot. If I even made a few $100s a month, I would be just happy. I can't even add ads to my channel until I'm monetized. And how does one become monetized, you ask? Well, monetization happens when you have at least 1,000 subscribers. That's why I ask that you subscribe. And you have, I think it's 1,000 or 1,500 view hours by people. So that is why I do appreciate each and every person that bothers to watch my channel and subscribe and view what I make. I am going to expand the type of videos I put on with other things that will involve a table saw, a battery-powered stapler, things like that. However, not at this time, not until after I recover from the surgery again on my knee again. That's going to be so much fun. Okay, now the letter Y. Okay. Whoops. Come on, get back in the tray. And I want to drink a coffee here. Always nice to have a drink of coffee. All right, now the letter Y. And as a so-called person who's had a couple of surgeries now, I can say that the knee surgery is ultimately definitely more painful than a hip surgery, or at least that was my case. I don't know if it's because something actually went wrong or if that's exactly how it feels. I'll find out when I have the knee surgery again. And I'm hoping that after that surgery, I will be more active like I used to be. Or at least, even if I was a quarter more active, it would be more active than I am nowadays. My knee hurts. As soon as I stand on it, it starts to swell. I can feel it swell. It burns like it's on fire. It pinches. It's just an all-around painful experience. It's as bad as it was before the surgery. And I was hoping that the surgery would at least control the amount of pain and pinching I was having constantly, and the slipping on the inside before my first surgery. And even then, this is my third surgery coming up on this knee. Back in my early 30s, I had ripped some cartilage and muscle in the knee, and I had microscopic surgery where they cut it out. Don't ever have cartilage cut out, ever, ever, ever. Cartilage is necessity, and it cannot regrow, and it cannot be manufactured, and it's should be repaired if possible. I had an old-fashioned doctor who did not do repairing. He just plainly cut it out. It was never explained to me. I did not know all this. I did not have good access to internet back then. Nowadays, I take a much more viable approach into my health care. I research and find out how things are going to be done instead of relying on the doctors being truthful, honest, and telling me everything, because they don't. Surgery's their job. That's it. And it really is up to a patient to be proactive on how it may affect you, how it might feel, how it's done. when they did the second knee surgery, I really thought it would work. I did not realize that the metal plates, the way they are, would become loose. I did not know that. On mine, why? Well, that could be a multifaceted reason. One, the glue might have been not up to par, just like the adhesive on this particular painting is not too much up to par. And two, it could be my profession was too demanding, being a housekeeper with the use of the knee. And again, there's no guarantees when it comes to certain things that it's going to turn out perfect. So my new knee surgery, my doctor is going to put new metal plates on that implant as a shaft down the bone like they do the hip, instead of just a few knobs that get glued on with a little bit of a hole. And yes, and I think that'll be more permanent, as if the bone will also wrap around it and keep it, just like I have a zip tie on my hip bone. Yep, I have a zip tie to make sure the bone don't crack open while it heals around the shaft of the metal. Unfortunately, my genetics, for whatever reason, my cartilage does not stay strong. It wore out fast. And part of it could be also that I was always a very, very active person. And I used my joints a lot for many hours every day. Then we're going to do letter, I believe that's a K. And these are offset. I can see it already because the top one is not setting down. There we go. Letter K. And I see a few of them, so... And that's one of the hardest things about being a labor worker, is that it really wears out the joints and the bones and the cartilage, and it just has such devastating effects on the body. Which means that we should be allowed to retire or be educated to a newer job as we get older. And unfortunately, as a labor worker, many of us are never paid what we're actually worth. And we're not given free education in which to take and get a higher education that is not as physically demanding, which has been a real problem here in America. And as you get older, you definitely appreciate, okay, the letter P. You appreciate the ability to move on and make changes in your life than you are when you're younger, because you've gained that knowledge and experience and paid your dues. You learn really quickly that you're not going to get rich on labor jobs, and you're not going to continue to have a good physical body by doing so. But boy, are trade jobs so much easier to get. You can get a trade, and anybody will hire anybody that can just do physical, meaningless, unwanted labor. Like, who wants to be a dishwasher? Who wants to be a housekeeper? Who wants to do a job that is a repetitive, mind-numbing experience job over and over and over and over again? And unfortunately, the system here in America is not good. It is not good at all. Really should be changed. However, we're not going to go into that. We're going to try to stay more relaxing. I'm just making some conversation. And as I was saying, I definitely will be facing another surgery, and I really do hope we're going with letter A now. I really do hope that it fixes this knee. 3 times the charm, right? Isn't that the old saying? It turns out right on the 3rd time. All things happen in 3s. I'm trying not to be optimistic. Yeah, if I can even get back 50% of the activity that I used to be able to do every day, I will be about like the average person by then. Because I've always been very hyperactive. Always like to be on the move, on the go, get this done, get that done. Come on, discharge. No, we're not keeping it. Okay, there we go. Might have to skim that just a little. Like I said, whenever I add any new wax, this painting actually responds better to hardly any adhesive on my pen. And even old adhesive. There's the fire truck again. Last week, a house burnt. Total loss. Total loss. Last week on a house in my city. And it was bad. I even got to see it. It was terrible. Absolutely just burnt to pieces on the inside. There's always so many more house fires in the winter. Always. Between the heaters and people using their ovens to heat places and space heaters, and it's just unbelievable. Doing the letter A, we're doing the fake reindeer on this side and half of this gnome's face. So there's 2 gnomes here. And then, of course, you're looking at old houses in my area, and you're talking about wiring that is being overused. People don't update their wiring, and modern appliances and modern technology has too high of a draw, or there's not enough plugins, and they use multiple cords and other things, and it causes a fire. It catches on fire, and so, yeah, in some old houses, you're lucky if you find 1 to 2 plugins in a room. I should know, like I said, I worked as a housekeeper. You should see what it's like trying to hunt down a plug-in in a room. I still don't understand why people don't put plug-ins higher up than they are. Why should you have to fight with furniture to find a plug-in? Okay, looking for letter A. Seeing if there's any more. Don't see any. I'm going to switch to letter C. Going to use the larger stylus for that. Yeah, I even looked in a law book on that because I was like, why is it all plug-ins other than really, 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 really old houses where they put the plug-in inside of the floor? I've been in a few houses like that too, where the plug-ins are flat and they're put on the floor. And I looked into it, and according to residential code, in case anyone is curious, a plug-in only needs to be within 3 feet from the floor. Yeah. So that means that you could actually install plug-ins up to 36 inches up the wall, which in my opinion is better, because then if you want to plug in something, you can find the plug-in. It's not blocked by the couch, the chair, the stand, the dresser, the bed. I could go on and on and on. In fact, in kitchens and bathrooms, where are the plug-ins? Up the wall. You can see it. You can reach it. You can plug things in and out. Why in the other rooms are they not? Some people say, oh, it's all about the anesthetics. They don't look good if they're on the wall. Well, they would if you put it as part of the decor. You can, there's many other plates that are available that are pretty colored and make the room look good. Plastic plates can be painted. They can be wallpapered. I mean, there's a lot of things you can do. You don't have to leave them the color they are. And in my opinion, as a housekeeper and bending over and fighting with furniture, it makes no sense that all the plug-ins are down along the floor. Just don't make any sense. No wonder people add all them extension cords and other things to them. If they would put them higher up on the wall or put strips of plug-ins, it would make such better sense. Way such better sense. And then elderly people, when they go to bend over, sometimes they fall, they break a hip or an arm. People get dizzy from bending over. And as I said, who wants to fight with furniture to find plugins? Okay, that's it on the letter C. Now we're going to go to E. Okay, we have a few big ones here. Whoops, one too many. Okay, I see a 4 one right there. I have no idea why my cat's doing that. Okay. They go around meowing. Who knows? Probably want to go outside and kill something. Instead, I'm more afraid of them getting killed. Especially the way traffic is. And I have a neighbor. I live on a corner of an alley and a street. And I caught a neighbor guy in the middle of the night terrorizing cats with his vehicle. And I am pretty positive by the way he was acting that he would be more than happy to hit and dispose of the cat. And with an attitude like that, that means that they are willing to harm and dispose of anybody or anything. It's one thing to have some dislike. We all dislike something. Like, I dislike mushrooms. Whoops. Sorry about that, everyone. Dropped it. I dislike dog poop on my grass because when I mow, it is on my grass and I step in it and it stinks to high heaven because it's feces. You know, there's a lot of things that I dislike, but it doesn't mean that I want to harm anybody or anything over it. So, people who have no boundaries and are willing to harm something until they off it means that they have no boundaries. And even their own kind is in the line of fire should you displease them. Yeah. It is a different thing to off an animal for food because we all must eat. We kill plants, we kill animals, we eat. You have to eat. You're going to off something to eat it. But even then you can have compassion. Like I'll eat deer. But when I saw one of the people that I cleaned, he had shot one, and it was crawling with its poor front legs. Like it was not a clean offing. And when I told him, he's like, I got it. I'm like, no, you didn't. I go, it's down there crawling with its front legs. And it hurt. I wanted to cry. I do not like to see anything suffer. Then we have the letter O. And he insisted, I couldn't believe this attitude. This is how cheap he was. He insisted on going and getting a cheaper bullet that was cheaper by 53 cents to finish that poor deer off rather than using his expensive bullets. Yeah, because it was 53 cents cheaper. I never felt so much disgust because it took him 5 minutes to go do that rather than spending an extra 53 cents to end that poor animal's pain. And yeah, I still eat venison. I like venison. But it's just the morals of it, that 53 cents was worth so much more than to end that poor suffering of that animal. So, but he was a very old guy. In fact, he had passed away. We're going to do letter R. He passed away about 4 years ago, sudden heart attack. And he was like in his 80s by then. Okay. And people of that era, they grew up hard. They grew up poor, and makes you really wonder where their compassion was, that's the way he was. So yeah, if something is off to continue the survival of others, I can understand the need of it. But to deliberately keep trying to hit a poor animal that was doing nothing to him. It was watching in the alley along the dumpsters. And I'll tell you, cats are something else. They are natural killers. They off mice, snakes, rats, squirrels. They get rid of rodents that carry diseases and that would overrun our world if we did not have them. You know, it's eat or be eaten. That is just how the world is. The strongest, the fittest, the ones that know how to provide for themselves are the ones that survive. And cats play a part in that, whether you like it or not. If they're feral and or they hunt at night, they really do help with population control. And again, just because you dislike someone, it doesn't, or something, it doesn't give you the right to eradicate them, to dispose of them, to get rid of them. Because all things have a place, and there's a place for everything. And that's why I was saying that I did, thank goodness, I don't think he lives next door to me anymore. Because I watched him do it like 3 times to this poor cat. And again, the cat was just sitting there watching the dumpster area. And I know what it was doing. It was hunting. It was watching. It was seeing if any rodents came out to get in the dumpster or be around the dumpster so it could hunt. And he kept trying to hit it with his car. When it comes to rodents, I will even off them with no sympathy. I remember a day one of them got in my house and it startled the heck out of me. I stomped it. And I couldn't help it. Where I grew up, we had holes in our walls where rats chewed holes in it. And mice stink. When they get in the walls, when they build their nests, they poop and pee while they're crawling along. It's just gross. And I don't even like squirrels. Mean little boogers. They chew everything. Okay, number 4. I appreciate that all things exist to feed other things. Yep. I only see 2 of those. Okay. Now we're going to do number 3, and there's quite the selection of them. They are all over. Come on, unload. There we are. All right. That just means I got just a little bit too much adhesive, and I kind of scrape it, trying to get it down lower so it doesn't hold them as tight. At least that's what I've resulted in doing to do this particular painting. As I said, the adhesive is not the greatest quality on the canvas. So I've had to modify how I put the adhesive on my pens to get the least grip possible. At the same time, allow pickup so that way it will, sorry about that, bump the camera. I suppose I could put the camera way higher and then dial it down, but then I would have to sit down to see. I would have to stand up to do the dialing in and everything because it would be out of my line of sight. So, another technical difficulty in which I try to do the best I can to make it function the best I can with minimal effort and time spent. Because as a viewer, who wants someone that messes around a lot? I don't mind talking over videos, but when people just stand there and talk and talk and talk, and you see no action, you don't see anything happening, I click out those videos pretty quick. Usually they're just talking about themselves or their experience without getting to the point. And I must say, I have a short attention span to just hearing someone talk that doesn't stimulate my mind very much. Now, if they were giving me information, that I don't mind. I do like information. Shaking the tray does take a few. And I know sometimes I'll do it under the camera. Sorry about that. I've been trying to stop doing that. It's very distracting. I was watching my one video and I was like, wow, even the shadow of it can be kind of annoying. And I hope I did state that this was video 8 of the gnomes. There's 18 total. And let's see, 18 total. That means we're almost halfway through already of this particular painting. On my last painting, I messed up. I lost video 16. I have no idea what happened. I try my best sometimes, you know, just, I think we all have those days that we mess up. Something happened and it was gone. Either that, I don't know. I'm not going to stress about it. Things happen. What is that? Shit happens every day. Yep. Just like it's same shit, different day. That's just different quote. I like quotes. So, whoops. Just like my mom always said, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. I don't know how many times that quote has saved my ass. Honestly, it really has. So now whenever anybody tries to say, you know, commercialism, whatever the case may be, if it sounds too good to be true, if I feel even the slight bit of skepticism, I won't fall for it. I'm like, nope, nope. Nope. And then I have this one that I do. Scammers hate it. Whenever anyone calls me and they spoof numbers, it'll say like, say something Wisconsin or whatever the case may be, instead of a name or a business name. And I answer it. So when they try talking, and they don't ask for my precise name, and even then, if they ask for my precise name, I will be like, and who's calling? I want to hear who it is. And if they don't give me an answer I want to hear, like if it's a certain business I go to, or a hospital, or whatever the case may be, okay, or someone that I know, and if they're a foreigner, and most foreigners, I have a real ear for accents. It's really hard to fool me. Really, really hard to fool me, because I have an ear for accents that doesn't sound like the English, American English. And I'll just start yelling in the phone, but not even yell. I'll be like, why are you calling me? You're a scammer. I don't want to hear from you, you scammer. And I'll just keep saying that. You're a scammer. You're a scammer. They hang up. I think it's funny because I know they're scammers. I know for real that it is a scammer. Boy, I can only hope I have more of these. I'm going to have to check it out before I do the next one. Because this particular color, I don't have many drills at all. Left in the tray. I have to knock them over. Okay. One guy, I can't remember if he was with eBay, because I call eBay often, or maybe with a product I bought. Sometimes I have to call customer service because I'm having a problem. And he was talking to me, and I think I asked him what area he was from, what continent. And he goes, you don't think I'm American? You know, and I was like, no, English is not your first language. He's like, and I told him why I could tell. And he seemed a little surprised that I could tell that English was not his first language. In fact, he revealed to me that he he lived in Spain. He was a Spaniard. So, oh, I see one missing here. I wonder if I accidentally out of your vision in the yesterday's. There was a letter C missing along the edge. I don't know if it popped off. Like I said, this adhesive to this particular painting is not the best adhesive that I've come across. Okay, we're going to do the letter T now. So yeah, I had explained to him why I could tell that he was not an English, that English was not his first language. And I told him if he practices with it a little bit more, then nobody would be able to tell. But he was close. He was very, very close. But he worked for a legit company, thank goodness. Some of the foreign speakers, not to be mean or anything, I get a little bit short-tempered when I have to speak to them. One, because I'm not happy how our businesses outsource even customer representative, because they can pay such lower wages overseas to them rather than have them in America. And then if that isn't bad enough, by taking away our jobs, which everybody deserves to earn a living wage that they can survive on here in America. If that's not bad enough that they do that to Americans, then they get these foreigners that don't understand American lingo. Because I've dealt enough with foreigners and their speech pattern that a lot of times they don't even understand the language that we're using. And you have to repeat yourself like 50 dozen times in different ways, trying to get through to them what the problem is, which is really frustrating. Really, really, really frustrating. And in fact, nowadays, when I make a call and I get an American, I'm like, oh, thank goodness you're an American. And some of them, none of them ever say to me, well, how can you tell? They know I can tell. You're an American. I can tell I'm speaking to an American speaker who knows American language and will understand the lingo. Yeah, you see, that's another thing about languages, is the lingo that they use. It's not all about the accent, it's the lingo and what words we use and what contents that we're using. Such as, a perfect example, why is English so hard to learn? I would like to eat a pair of shoes. Don't sound right, right? But if you say, I would like to eat a pair, yeah. You see, if you use the word pair and then you don't use the proper words with it, because pair could mean a pair of shoes or it could mean a pair that you eat. Or how about Polish and polish. They're spelled the same way here in America. Like, please polish the Polish furniture. And then, what's the difference? Capitalization. So, American language can be a little bit touchy and different if you're not used to it. And if you don't know the lingo, when someone's trying to explain a problem to you, then you don't understand what they're trying to say. And as I said, Americans deserve to be hired, and they deserve to have living wages. And if the companies are selling here in America, then why is it that they can't understand us when we call with a problem? Enough to make you not even want to buy other products from that they're making and outsourcing and not making so you can even deal with problems. Okay, got the letter U. And we're almost done. Oh, I missed some sixes right there. That's okay. We'll get back to them. We're going to do the letter U because I already have the tray out. And why backtrack before finishing it, right? At least that's some of my rant on that. Nothing like trying to explain something to someone who can't understand it, because they don't understand the context when you're speaking American. Just like they wouldn't like it if they were in their countries and say that they don't know American very well. And all they did was get English-speaking people, whether it be from England or America. And they're trying to explain their problem, and they speak Polish or they speak some other language, and they can't get adequate help. You know, that goes all way, just like I don't speak Japanese. I wouldn't want to try to explain to a Japanese person something or answer phone calls from Japanese citizens because I couldn't help them. I can't speak their language. And if you don't speak it well and you don't understand the lingo, you're still at a disadvantage. That's still grabbing too many. All right. Well, as always, I thank everyone. And if you have a tale about representative calls and trying to explain or what language, right now, everyone seems to be sourcing out to like Nigeria, Africa, or India because they seem to be the most poverty-stricken countries at this time, where they can pay them the least and overwork them the most. Yeah, makes you really like companies, huh? Please put it in the comments. And I've actually hung up before when I can barely understand them, just when they answer. I'm like, yep, I can't get through to these people, and hung up. And just keep recalling back until I got someone that I could understand. Done that too. You'd think that companies would want to stay in the good graces of their customers. And as always, I very much appreciate you. Please subscribe, leave a comment, hit the thumbs up, and definitely, until next time, see you then.